All right, so in less than 24 hours, Memphis City Council will consider a plan that would pause all permits for data centers within the city limits.
Now, it's been more than 2 years since city leaders first announced that XAI would be bringing its massive data center to the Bluff City. And since then, Elon Musk's company has expanded its footprint in the Mid-South. ABC 24's Shakina Davis talked to a Memphis City Council member ahead of tomorrow's meeting.
As City Council prepares to discuss that proposed temporary pause Tuesday, we want to take you back to where all this started. From XAI's first announcement in 2024 to the company's rapid expansion and the debate that followed. Here's a look at the timeline.
We watched how the data centers, particularly XAI, operated, and it seems to me that they operated without regard for the communities that they were impacting. And also the elected officials who represent those communities.
It all started June 5th, 2024. That's when the Greater Memphis Chamber announced XAI was making its way to Memphis, with Elon Musk's company planning what it described as the world's largest supercomputer facility. At the time, the exact location wasn't confirmed, but the chamber said the project would be at a former manufacturing facility in southwest Memphis. And while the announcement brought excitement about a major technology investment, questions started almost immediately about what a project of that size would mean for Memphis. Environmental groups said they wanted to see the benefits of the project, but also wanted answers about its impact. Among the biggest concerns, water and power. At the time, Protect Our Aquifer estimated the facility would require at least 1 million gallons of water a day to cool the massive computing systems. And the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, said it will work with MLGW to manage the facility's electricity demand. But while those questions continue, XAI's presence in Memphis grew. The company developed Colossus 1 in southwest Memphis, followed by Colossus 2 in Whitehaven. And XAI's footprint was expanding beyond Memphis too, with the company later building up operations in South Haven. By 2025, the conversation has shifted from whether XAI was coming to how Memphis would deal with the company's presence. The city collected millions of dollars in taxes from XAI. City leaders created a special revenue fund of about $3.25 million, with plans to use that money in areas most impacted by the construction and operation of the facility. At the same time, XAI was promoting job opportunities in Memphis, including a job fair connecting residents with potential employment. Community and environmental advocates also continue to raise concerns about XAI's operation. In December, the Memphis and Shelby County Air Pollution Control Board voted 6-1 to keep XAI's air permit in place. Advocates said the decision was a setback, especially for residents in Boxtown who had raised concerns about pollution and public health. Environmental and civil rights groups said they would continue challenging XAI's operations. And as those local debates continue, XAI kept expanding across the Mid-South. In December 2025, property records showed XAI had acquired additional property in South Haven. Then in January 2026, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves announced a $20 billion XAI investment into DeSoto County. The project included plans for another data center, and the governor said the investment would create more than 1,000 jobs. But XAI's growth also brought more legal challenges. In April, the NAACP filed a lawsuit against XAI over its use of gas-powered turbines at its South Haven facilities, arguing they violated the Clean Air Act. Then in June, the U.S. Justice Department asked to intervene in that case and have it dismissed, citing national security concerns. XAI also asked the court to dismiss the lawsuit. And a separate lawsuit was filed by South Haven area residents who say noise and vibrations from the data center are disrupting their quality of life. And here in Memphis, the expansion continued. In June, city records showed XAI had filed permit applications totaling about $300 million in proposed work at Colossus 1 and Colossus 2. That included more than $250 million in proposed work at Colossus 1 and another project at Colossus 2. The permit activity came after Tennessee lawmakers passed a law requiring data center owners to pay the full cost of their infrastructure and electrical needs. Then, in late July, Musk confirmed plans for another data center next to the two-lane road facility. The project, called Mini Hard, is expected to have the same capacity as Colossus 2, but in a much smaller size. And Memphis Mayor Paul Young has also said XAI is expected to restart construction on a gray water recycling facility, a project intended to help reduce the company's use of fresh water. And that brings us to today. After more than 2 years of XAI development, expansion, community concerns, and legal fights, Memphis City Council leaders are now proposing a temporary pause on new data center developments. The proposed ordinance would give the city time to study the potential environmental infrastructure and community impacts of data centers and consider regulations moving forward.
We have Councilwoman Green, who's already on board. Councilwoman Cooper Sutton's already on board. Chairwoman Janice Swearingen-Washington is all on board. So we need 3 other council members to decide that they believe that a temporary pause when it comes to data centers is necessary in this moment.
Councilman J.B. Smiley Jr. says the goal is not to stop economic growth, but to slow down long enough to make sure the city gets it right.
If the council decides that this may not be in the best interest, maybe the laws that we put in place are more stringent. If the council decides that, hey, this is beneficial in some way, maybe the laws should be designed in a way that allow them to operate, but require them to come back to the council, give reports, talk about the environmental impact.
The proposed temporary pause would not only apply to XAI, but to new data center development across the city. Memphis City Council is expected to discuss the ordinance during its executive session on Tuesday. ABC 24 will be following that discussion, and we'll have the latest on what council members decide. Shakina Davis, ABC 24 News.